Welcome to the Switch Style Podcast, where we encourage you to think beyond what you hear. I'm your host, and I go by the name of Smooth. And audience, welcome to episode 60 of the podcast. On episode 60, I'll actually update the Billboard charts for you. I'll let you know what's coming out this Friday, May 26th. And last but not least, I'll give you my take on Logic's latest album, which is titled Everybody. But before we jump into all of that, audience, I do want to let you know you can find this podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And you can also find the podcast and my take on jacksjournal.com. That's JACSjournal.com. And audience, also follow me on Twitter at jacksjournal. So let's go ahead and jump into it. On the Billboard 200, Harry Styles of One Direction debuts at number 1 with his self-titled solo effort, earning 230,000 units. 193,000 of those were traditional album sales. Styles' album is the best debut sales week for a UK male artist since 1991. He also became the second UK male artist to debut at number 1 with their first album in the chart's history. His former bandmate Zayn is the only other male UK artist to achieve the feat. Zac Brown Band debuts at number 2 with Welcome Home. The set earned 146,000 units. 139,000 of those were traditional album sales. Paramore lands at number 6 with After Laughter. The album collected 67,000 units, 53,000 in traditional album sales. And last but not least, Machine Gun Kelly's Bloom drops in at number 8 with 57,000 units. 38,000 of those were traditional album sales. Congrats to all of those artists who made waves on the 200 this week: Harry Styles, Zac Brown Band, Paramore, and Machine Gun Kelly. And on the Hot 100, Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and Justin Bieber earned a second week in the penthouse with Despacito. And if you want to know more about that, you can either check out Billboard or you can go back to episode 59 where I told you guys more about Despacito and some of the feats that it accomplished. And also on the Hot 100, Miley Cyrus lands in the top 10 with her latest single, Malibu. So all of you Miley Cyrus fans, go check out Malibu. It's actually a departure from what she's done the last few years. I know she really embraced hip-hop culture, but she's going back to her roots. So we'll see how things work out for her on that end. But that's it for chart news. But again, congratulations to Miley Cyrus, Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, Justin Bieber for making waves on the Hot 100. Again, Despacito is the number 1 song in the country, and Harry Styles' self-titled debut album is the number 1 album in the country. So congrats to all of them. So let's go ahead and move on to what's new. I'll tell you guys what's coming out this Friday, May 26th, 2017. So look out for new albums from Atlanta MC Lil Yachty. He's releasing his debut album, which is titled Teenage Emotions. Jazz and R&B vocalist Mesa, she's back with her latest effort, Love is Beautiful. And if you haven't checked out Mesa, please do. She's an amazing vocalist. She started back in the early to mid 90s with this jazz fusion group by the name of Incognito. She was the lead singer for them for a while. So go check them out. And last but not least, another jazz fusion group, Pieces of a Dream. They returned with their latest, Just Funkin' Around. So again, audience, check out Lil Yachty. All of you Lil Yachty fans, go check that out. Jazz and R&B vocalist Mesa, she's back with Love is a Battlefield. And fusion jazz group, Pieces of a Dream, they're back with Just Funkin' Around. So audience, I'm sure if you're here, you probably came because you like Logic. And if you like Logic, you have great taste in music. Logic is an amazing artist. But before I give you my take on Logic's latest album titled Everybody, if you haven't heard the podcast before, I just like to give you an update on the artist just to let you know where they've been and where they are now currently in their career. And also just like to tell you a little bit, and I try to be as efficient as possible with it. I won't give you a complete detailed look at Logic, but I'll break down the key points in his career. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Logic's real name is Sir Robert Bryson Hall II, and he was born January 22nd, 1990 in Gaithersburg, Maryland. Logic released a mixtape in 2009 under the nickname Psychological, and then he shortened it soon after. He landed a coveted spot on XXL Magazine's freshman class of 2013. He then released his major label debut for Def Jam, Under Pressure, in 2014, and The Incredible True Story followed in 2015. Logic released the mixtape Bobby Tarantino in 2016, and Everybody landed in May 5th of this year, 2017. And I'm actually a week behind, but Everybody actually became Logic's first #1 album as it topped the Billboard 200 with 247,000 units, and 196,000 of those were traditional album sales. So congrats to Logic in that way. He hasn't had a lot of chart success. He sort of has this cult following, but he's definitely deserving of the #1 album in the country. Nearly 250,000 sales in this first week, so congrats to Logic. But I'll actually go ahead and give you guys my take on Logic's latest album. For years, hip-hop has mostly been a vehicle for black artistic expression, whether good or bad. The genre has been sprinkled with a fair amount of MCs from other races, but the opinions of distinctly biracial rappers have rarely been heard. The late 2000s ushered in two of modern hip-hop's elite figures, Drake and J. Cole, who both fully embraced their biracial identity. However, the two have yet to thoroughly tackle the dichotomy of growing up as biracial men in America. The simple answer is that they feel no need to, but the truth is far more complex beneath its surface. Logic, the biracial Maryland-bred rapper, also shares that same distinction, but he fully addressed the subject on his third studio album, Everybody. Take a second and look at pictures of Drake, J. Cole, and Logic. Most would easily describe J. Cole and Drake as fair-skinned black males, but a brief glance at Logic would leave many classifying him as a white male. Growing up, all three most likely shared similar experiences, but Logic may have faced more scrutiny due to his appearance. Despite what seemed to be a handicap, Logic has not only developed into one of hip-hop's best biracial rappers, but one of its best, period. Since landing a coveted spot in XXL Magazine's 2013 freshman class, Logic has consistently released visionary efforts and built a cult following while flying under the radar on hip-hop's most storied label, which is Def Jam, in my opinion. Everybody, his third studio album, is a wide-ranging take on being biracial in America, various societal issues, and an exploration of self-acceptance. Logic wisely surrounds himself with a few of hip-hop's great minds, and those include Killer Mike, who's now more so famous for his work with Run the Jewels, Black Thought, Chuck D, and Logic's idol himself, J. Cole. He even recruits astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson and California radio host Big Bun to play God and Adam respectively. And when I say God and Adam, I'm referring to the biblical figures. Logic asks the listeners to approach the music with an open mind, and then transitions to the first sketch of the God and Adam dialogue on the album opener, Hallelujah. The skit continues on Waiting Room and focuses on death and rebirth through various forms. Everybody explores Logic's upbringing, from being certified as a house nigga to white privilege to being told he should be ashamed to be black, and even black people shamefully looking at him when he raps. Killer Mike's passionate Dear God monologue is the highlight of the Repent and Confess, and Take It Back is a retrospective look at Logic's past. He vividly details his story on the song's outro with references to his drug and alcohol-addicted parents, racist mother, racial discrimination, and the challenging road to his current status. The Roots frontman Black Thought and Public Enemy's Chuck D assist on the political America. They all give their take on America's divided state, and Logic takes his own requisite shot at the nation's commander-in-chief. 3 6 Mafia's Juicy J lends a hand on the playful ink blot and most definitely is an inspiring story of perseverance. Logic paints living in America as a facade and cites lack of health care, home ownership, unbearable student loans, and television as a few to blame. 1-800-273-8255 is the title of Logic's take on suicide, and it's also the actual number to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. He details his struggle with the mental health disorder anxiety, which is oddly spelled with a Z for some unknown reason. Logic reaches the point of self-acceptance on the rousing Black Spider-Man and Africarian finds the MC fighting off more racial stereotypes. As it stands, everybody is the definitive take on being a biracial rapper in America. It's filled with pain and frustration, and more importantly, it is one that figures out that it's okay to simply be who you are. Logic is not only aware of his place in hip-hop's complex history, but America's own entangled fabric. He's come to accept his place in both, and so should we. So there you go, audience. That's my take on Logic's third studio album, Everybody. And honestly, it's one of my favorite albums this year. To me, it sits right beside Kendrick Lamar's Damn, Big Sean's I Decided, Run the Jewels, RTJ3, which technically came out last year, but it will and should be nominated for a Grammy in 2018, along with J. Cole's For Your Eyes Only. Those are probably the 5 best albums I've heard in the last 6 to 7 months. I love Logic's album. I love the way that he approached it. As I said earlier, we've had biracial rappers, but I don't think anybody in the genre has explored the topic the way that Logic has. No one has shared their experiences the way he has, and he's touched on it on his previous albums, The Incredible True Story and Under Pressure, but he really gives you a full-blown take on Everybody. He really delves deep into the subject on this album, which is what I love about it. And not only that, he tackles social issues, political issues, and it's an amazing album. It's one of the, like I said earlier, it's one of the better albums that's come out this year. And just to let you guys know, some of my favorite songs are Everybody, Ink Blot, and Juicy J is on Ink Blot. And I'm from Memphis. I'm not a huge 3 6 Mafia fan, but I'm always proud to see those guys whenever they're doing something and doing it well. But Ink Blot is another one. Black Spider-Man and Africarian are my favorite 2 songs. J. Cole does make a guest appearance towards Africarian. It's actually a hidden verse. But Anxiety with Lucy Rose is another good one. I mean, the entire album is solid from top to bottom. It's not an album that's going to get a lot of commercial play, but honestly, Logic is never a guy who sought out commercial play, well, radio play or commercial success. And for that, I love what Logic is doing. He's doing very well. And, I commend Logic for sharing his story. Because me personally, I can't relate to it. But, some of the things that he does say, I do understand. I understand where he's coming from. And, I'm glad that he's come to a place of acceptance. So congratulations, Logic. And audience, if you're listening, I definitely recommend that you go and pick up this album. This is one that you need in your collection. And like I said, it's one of the best that I've heard in 2017. And in my review, I called it the definitive look on being biracial in America, being a biracial rapper in America. So audience, check it out. And thank you for listening. I sincerely appreciate it. And before I go, I do want to let you guys know that you can find the podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, and YouTube. And also check out jacksjournal.com. That's JACSjournal.com. You can find my written take. And you can also find this podcast as well and all other 59 episodes of the podcast. But thanks again for listening, audience. Who's ever out there listening, I sincerely appreciate it. You could be doing anything else, watching Netflix, Hulu, doing homework, whatever. Listening to music, whatever you're doing, you could be doing it. But instead, you're here listening to me, and I sincerely appreciate it. But thank you again, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.